As a writer, always, always, always consider how things are happening in real time or in the time of your fiction. Even if it's speculative fiction that kind of works outside of time or has an extension of the boundaries of time, but always consider, no matter how fantastical a world you're writing, always consider how long things take or how things work in that time frame. Make sure your events and your exchanges and your reactions are operating within the limits of time. Time has limitations. It's imposed its physical and spatial limitations on us as people in this physical world. So kind of see it as a template for your world building as well. So the example in Siege of Mandalore is Anakin's tribute to Ahsoka. I mentioned this in my previous stream. His arrangement for paying tribute to Ahsoka really doesn't make sense in the concept of time. They just finished a battle. Obi-Wan and Anakin just finished a battle taking over this citadel or whatever it was that the droids were overtaking. So they just finished a battle. And, between war and how military works, I'm not from the military, but chances are generals, admirals, whatever the case is, after a war and with subsequent wars ahead or battles ahead, people are debriefed. People are given memos. They're given notices. They're given coordinations. They're given new missions or new assignments. For Anakin and Obi-Wan to just finish a battle and then receive this transmission from Ahsoka and then have this kind of urgent exchange, like we got to meet now and we got to ask Kenobi if he will do this joint operation, that sense of urgency. There's no way that Anakin would have had time to get 48 soldiers, half of them paint their helmets in Ahsoka's skin tone, her skin color, and then salute her when she comes. That kind of tribute, I could see maybe Rex and maybe two other troopers, maybe like a handful, like 3 or 4, like a total of 4 or 5 people. I could see that happening, but 4 dozen with the helmets painted in that time frame, it just doesn't make any logical sense. Now, Star Wars is space fantasy, but it's not speculative. Time still is working in a very strict frame. So, excuse me, be careful with that. Be careful with how your characters are reacting, what they're doing, and ask yourself, do they have time to do this? Or would this take a much longer time? So let's say Ahsoka meets him and Kenobi maybe a week after their exchange. And that gives that extra time. Oh, there might not be a battle. They would have had time to be briefed by the Chancellor or the Council. All this military stuff could be taken care of in a week's time, for instance, and then Anakin could say, "Hey, Rex, let's get 4 dozen of your men. Let's have half of them paint their helmets, and let's salute Ahsoka." If we're given like a week for that between battles or something, that makes sense. So if you want a scene like that, work it in, but you have to work it within the frame, within that time frame, or a more believable time frame, rather.